In this episode, I answer a super popular question and talk about how to bring value if you are an artist. Welcome to episode 82 of the Honest Entrepreneur Show. My name's Tom Ross, and let's get into it. Guys, I'm looking outside and it is sunny. Finally, it's like summer is breaking here in the UK. I don't know where it snuck up from, but I'm very happy about it. So when I'm done here, I'm of course going to go and do some Instagram work, get back to you fine people. But I'm going down the pub. I'm getting in a beer garden with my stepsister, her boyfriend, and my fiance. And we're going to have some drinks, have some food. So yes, for all the doubters out there, I do have a social life. I do have fun. I do have downtime. I do sleep. I just got to try and fit it around all of the hard work.
This question was asked by many people, but best articulated by Ilse. I'm having a hard time identifying who would want my art. I think part of the issue is that I don't see myself as providing a service or, quote-unquote, solving a problem. So I'm not really sure where to begin looking for that ideal client you talk about. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated.
I love this question, Ilse, and everyone. And Rachel, who does the fantastic voiceovers, is completely right. This is asked again and again and again. I get it every single week, sometimes every single day in my DMs. So I recognize this is a clear problem and a very widespread problem. And I get it, right? Because it's very easy when you're talking about providing value if you're a teacher or you're doing something informational like what I'm doing here. I'm giving advice that is clearly giving value. So for anyone teaching out there, they kind of got it easy. I do recognize that with some of the letterers and the calligraphers and the artists and the illustrators, what value is it they're providing? They can provide value to their clients by fulfilling a brief. But if they're doing it kind of for the masses or for their community or following, often they get stuck. And many people don't want to teach. They're like, good if you like bringing value that way, but that's not really for me. I just like making art. And that's fair enough. So I think you need to shift your mindset and realize that that can be a form of value. And I'm going to tell you how. So I mention her a lot on this show, but my friend Dina Rodriguez is very good at this. She primarily produces art in the form of illustration and sometimes combines it with lettering. Yet she has created this fantastic community who love her work, buy it. They buy prints, they buy merchandise. She sells out of all this stuff. They love her. They love what she's all about. And she brings them an insane amount of value, not through teaching them, but simply through her art. And the way she does that is she realizes it is not so much about the quality of the art, and she is very, very talented, but it's more about the message and the emotions and the emotive connection that you have with your community around your art. So let me break that down for a second. If you are doing a piece that is just a landscape, then that's very nice. But what sets it apart from all the other landscape artists, unless you're some kind of absolute maverick with your technique, it's like, oh, that's another nice landscape. That might look good in my home, That will have some success rate, but it generally won't be what breaks through and carves out a really engaged community of people who just fawn over your work. Whereas something like Banksy, for example, he has a lot of value for his work. In fact, there's a lot of zeros on some of those paintings that he sells. And that's because there's an enormous value associated with his work because it's highly political, right? It's got an acute message behind it. And it's very different. I know there's copycats and stuff now, but Banksy, you think different, you think disruptive. It's making a statement. He's got his whole cloak and dagger kind of brand going on as well. So there's an enormous associated value with that. And you can hopefully see the difference between just another nice painting or illustration and something that has a real statement and connects with the viewer. And so what I would do is I would try to think about who it is that you want to appeal to, and then what they are going to get from it in terms of seeing themselves in the work or an emotional resonance or connection or empowering them. So to go back to my example of Dina, she does work about weed, smoking weed, about body positivity, and about feminism. So when she does a piece, that has a curvy woman in it and is saying, empowering messages for her to embrace her body and not accept the judgment of others, that is something which is going to resonate with that market of plus size women, etc., who are going to see themselves in that and feel really empowered by the message. And that's a fantastic thing. And that's where art kind of transcends just being not that valuable to something that really has some value for people. Same way there's someone I'm working with and we're trying to find like an angle of value in what they do, but they do a lot of helicopter drawings, and the value they're going for is nostalgia. So if you gift that to someone, and they look at that and feel real nostalgia because they perhaps come from like a career in the forces or something like that, and that really means a lot to them. Or there's my business partner. He's obsessed with cars. So if he got a piece around cars that really he saw and he was like, oh yeah, that gets me fired up, that is valuable to him. So just realize that like the only way to bring value is not teaching. It's generally just to strike an emotional chord or empower someone. And there are a billion different ways to do that. So for all the artists out there, like, please just avoid being generic, avoid trying to serve everyone, avoid just dotting between disparate things. I think you really need to realize it's the statement that your work makes, which is going to help sell it or help it to connect with people. So whatever your theme is, maybe it is speaking out about human rights. Maybe it's just spreading a little positivity. I know artists that do super well that just put out like a little positive affirmation or note of joy into the world each day. And that's the value people get from their art, because it makes them smile for a second or it cheers them up. It doesn't have to be anything that's like deep and thought out. It could be whimsical and fun. It could be nostalgic. It could be sad. It could be cathartic through the sadness. It could be targeting people that are warning. I know it kind of went dark there. It could be all about people that are pregnant, and it could be art about that, where they see themselves and the glow of pregnancy and that miracle happening, and that's what they connect with. It could be 1,000 different things, but realize that making someone have some kind of reaction in hopefully a positive way to your work, that is value enough. And so please stop overthinking and thinking, well, just because I don't have a masterclass or a membership site, there's no value I can bring to the world, because it's just not true. It's just that you haven't picked your people and you haven't worked out exactly what you're going to trigger in them that is a valuable exchange for them. So I hope that helps everyone, and let me know how you get on. I want to work through this with a few people because I see it's a really big issue. Question of the day: what value do you think you're bringing your intended audience? Thank you so much for watching this episode. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm really enjoying the YouTube show. If you are too, then be sure to hit the subscribe icon and tick the little bell to get notifications when I post new content on this platform.